I was the only mixed race person in my all of my schools.
It wasn't until like later on that I was like, oh my God, that was racist.
He's my son, he's my blood as well. You know, I don't look at a child as different to me.
My nan lived in a very white area in the sticks, playing with the white kids there before that. I'd never even seen a black boy. Their reaction made me realise that I was different.
Where I grew up, unfortunately, I did experience quite a bit of racism. I've been called a black bastard. I got called a Paki a lot, which obviously demonstrates the lack of education that these individuals have as well.
He would say, if we go to this party today or we go to this person's house, am I going to be the only mixed race or black person there? And if I say yes, he'd be like, I don't want to go. So he, and that was really young, that was like 4 or 5.
I have a no touch rule now, so like it's just off limits. Like treat my hair like lava. You can't touch that. You will get burnt.
This woman had touched his hair like 7 times in a restaurant. I started to question it. And they said to me, no, I think you're overthinking it. And that's when I had to really step up and go, no, I think you're underthinking it. I don't think you're aware of what's actually happening in that moment.
When I was younger, I had like this blonde, curly afro, and people would just stick their hands in my hair. So I'd literally be like walking down the street, maybe, you know, be my mum or my dad, and someone would be just like, oh my God, her hair's amazing, and then stick their hands in and start like feeling my hair. And that, of course, I just hated it.
It was very important that Nadia didn't identify as being white, and as a mixed race child that she identified as being black. It was my duty, as well as her dad's, to help install that and give her that identification.
When I became an adult, I realised that a lot of society now sees me differently. They'll either see me as a threat or treat me with suspicion.
Although I knew I was mixed race, although I know I'm light skinned, my dad made it very clear to me that the world is going to perceive you as black. And when I was raised in a predominantly white environment, that became very clear, because they were pointing out, you know, all of the aspects of me that were black rather than the aspects of me that were white.
I think that the responsibility of raising a mixed child changes as they get older. I don't necessarily think that when they're really, really young, it's an intrinsic issue for the parent, you know, unless they're thinking a lot more about it than I did at the time. I think probably one thing that makes this situation quite different for us was that I was widowed when he was 2. So I suppose all of my energy was going into like dealing with grief.
A lot of mixed race parents live in this world where they're in love with somebody of a different race, and they've now got a child who's a mixed race child, and I guess that's all that matters. There's no need to really explain it past that. I'm going to learn when I go out into the world.
Can you explain racism?
There's a lot of ways of racism. A person judges the colour of your skin. For example, you can't do anything with all your friends because they're playing with that person that judges the colour of your skin.
It can be incredibly difficult for mixed race people right now because it does seem as though it may be black versus white. That's very much not the case. We know it's just about, you know, stomping out racism as a whole and actually coming together to have those conversations.
My members of family, which are full white, get it because they've grown up with black brothers, black father. So yeah, they don't really need it explaining.
I'm a lot more conscious of my responsibility as a parent to a mixed race child than I was before. You know, like, actually, I can't make excuses to not educate him. I can't see, you know, I can't do the thing of like trying to not see colour that people talk about. Like, you know, it's because to me that's just ridiculous. It's just a get out.
Historically, you have to go back to come forward to understand what's going on today with systemic racism. Mm-hmm. You have to go back. And you've got to educate yourself.
If we talk, we educate each other. And if we educate each other, we begin to eradicate the problem. So, yeah, thanks for asking me to talk.